Elian was a genius mapmaker, but he carried a heavy curse. He could never reach the end of any path he drew on his scrolls. Do you see yourself in Elian? Starting with burning passion, only to stop when things get difficult or simply not as perfect as planned. His workshop was a graveyard of unfinished dreams, a silent testament to every journey he abandoned before the final destination was ever reached. The air was heavy with the scent of old ink and the weight of missed opportunities, echoing the silent frustration in his heart. Outside, a thick fog hid the world, much like the mental haze that prevented him from seeing his projects through to the very end. Every unfinished map was a ghost, haunting his thoughts and reminding him of the man he failed to become with every passing day. He possessed the skill to map the world, yet he was lost in the geography of his own hesitation, unable to move forward. The ink of his ambition was drying up, leaving behind only stains of regret where there should have been grand, completed adventures. He felt trapped in a loop of beginnings, a cycle of excitement followed by the crushing realization that he couldn't finish what he started. The burden of the unfinished was heavier than any physical load, a weight that grew with every new idea he let fall aside. He was the master of starts, but a slave to the middle, lost in the vast, empty spaces of his own abandoned creations. This is the land of fog, a place not on any map, but deep within the psyche of every person who struggles to finish. Look around and you will see the ruins of half-built towers and bridges to nowhere, representing every project you ever walked away from. Every time you quit, you add another stone to this prison of procrastination, building a landscape of failures that block your path forward. The whispers of what could have been echo through the trees, draining your energy and making the simple act of breathing feel like work. The land of fog is fed by your excuses, growing thicker every time you tell yourself you will finish it tomorrow instead of today. It houses the ghosts of the healthier version of you, the smarter version, and the more successful version that you never quite reached. Procrastination is not just a delay. It is a thief that steals your vitality and leaves you wandering in circles without a purpose. Why do we fear finishing so much? Is it the fear of being judged, or the fear that our best isn't good enough for reality? The weight became too much to bear. In the silence of the fog, Elian realized that his greatest enemy was not the map, but himself. Every abandoned task leaks a bit of your soul, leaving you hollow and tired, even when you haven't actually done any real work. This is the true cost of the unfinished life, a vast expanse of potential that was never realized. A world left in gray shadows. But even in the deepest fog, there is a flicker of warmth. Elian saw a light that did not belong to the gray world. Driven by a final spark of hope, he moved toward the warmth, leaving the cold whispers of the fog behind his tired footsteps. There sat the wise man. He could not see the world with his eyes, yet he seemed to know every inch of its hidden paths. He was working on a single stone, his movements slow, deliberate, and entirely focused on the present moment, oblivious to anything else around him. The wise man spoke without looking up. You cannot finish because you are too in love with the perfect map in your head. You hate the imperfections of reality, so you stay in the safety of the unfinished, where your dreams can remain flawless but completely unreal. You draw maps with your eyes, the wise man whispered, but a map is useless unless you are willing to walk with muddy feet. He offered Elian a blank scroll, not a map of what is, but a space for what could be if he dared to finish. Finish this, the old man commanded. Not perfectly, not beautifully, but completely. Only the end of the journey can reveal the true path. As Elian accepted the challenge, the air in the cave changed, and the oppressive weight of the fog outside started to lift slightly. The lesson was clear. The map is not the journey, and the journey is not worth anything until the final step is taken. That we are all victims of the perfection paradox. We chase the impossible ideal and ignore the valuable reality that sits right in front of us. The perfect castle is a trap. It lives in the dark, and it dies the moment you try to bring it into the light. The humble, finished hut is far superior. It provides shelter, warmth, and a foundation for the next project you decide to undertake. Repeat this to yourself. Finished beats perfect, every single time. An ugly, completed drawing is worth more than a masterpiece that stays hidden. Perfection is a cage for the talented. It keeps your skills locked away because you are too afraid to show the world something flawed. When you obsess over every detail, you lose the rhythm of creation. You become a critic before you have even become a creator. Completion is a skill that must be practiced. It is the muscle that turns ideas into reality, and it grows stronger with every finish. And he realized that the maps he had abandoned weren't failures. They were simply waiting for him to accept their beautiful human imperfections. He began to draw again. The lines were not as straight as he wanted, but they were moving toward the edge of the page. There is a special kind of beauty in the finished work that carries the marks of the struggle. It tells a story of perseverance. The weight of others' expectations and his own harsh judgment vanished, replaced by the simple, pure joy of seeing a task through. A completed task has weight and value in the real world. A perfect thought has none. You cannot build a life on thoughts. Stop comparing your rough drafts to someone else's highlight reel. Focus on your own finish line, no matter how humble it may seem. He found that he liked the crooked lines. They were honest. They were his. They were the evidence of a journey actually taken. The rhythm of completion is the heartbeat of success. It drives you forward while giving you the momentum to tackle the next big challenge. To escape the land of fog, Elian used the simplest tool of all, the 10-minute rule. He committed to working for just 10 minutes. 10 minutes is short enough to be easy, but long enough to break the spell of resistance that keeps you frozen in place. He didn't promise to finish the whole map. He only promised to stay at the table until the sand in the hourglass ran out. When you focus on the next 10 minutes, as the mountain ahead disappears and only the current step remains. This is where progress lives. Each 10-minute session is a link in a chain. The more links you add, the stronger your resolve becomes, and the harder it is to quit. Consistency is the secret weapon of the finisher. Small acts of discipline, repeated daily, will eventually move mountains and bridge any chasm. The hardest part is the first 2 minutes. If you can survive those, the next 8 will carry you into a state of flow. When the time was up, he felt a surge of energy instead of exhaustion. He had kept a promise to himself, and that felt powerful. Small victories are the fuel for big accomplishments. By finishing one small section, he regained the confidence to face the rest of the path. Don't look at the summit. It's too far and too scary. Just look at the patch of ground right beneath your feet for now. Action is the only cure for fear. Every step forward is a declaration that you are no longer a prisoner of your own hesitation. And the fog cannot survive movement. It only grows in the stillness of waiting. When you start moving, the world starts clearing for you. This simple shift in perspective changes everything. You aren't climbing a mountain. You are just taking one more 10-minute walk today. 10 minutes is the poison for procrastination. It is the small dose of reality that kills the giant lie of, "I'm not ready." He was no longer the map maker of abandoned lands. He was becoming the explorer of his own potential, one small step at a time. Thus, the journey of 1,000 miles doesn't just begin with a single step. It is completed by the thousands of steps that follow it. He looked at his completed map. It wasn't perfect. There were ink blots and shaky lines, but it was finished. And it was beautiful. The feeling of finishing is a reward that no amount of dreaming can ever match. It is the true taste of freedom and mastery. Your life is your map. Don't leave it as a collection of half-drawn lines and empty spaces. Fill it with the colors of completion. I challenge you today. Pick one project you have abandoned, one book, one workout plan, one dream that has been sitting in the fog. Commit to just 10 minutes every day for the next 30 days. Don't ask for perfection. Only ask for 10 minutes of honest effort. Watch as the days add up. Watch as the fog in your mind begins to clear and the path forward reveals itself one day at a time. But you will discover that the person who finishes is much stronger than the person who starts. You will find the version of yourself you've missed. The graveyard of dreams can become a gallery of achievements. All it takes is the courage to be imperfect and the discipline to continue. Every new beginning is now a promise of a new ending. He is no longer afraid of the middle, for he knows how to finish. Don't let your story be a collection of unfinished chapters. Be the author who writes the words "the end" on every dream you start. The map of your life is waiting for its next line. Are you ready for your first 10 minutes? Start now, and don't stop.